So welcome to Coffee Break with Candace. This is my very first episode. This is a show where we celebrate coffee, conversation, and musical collaborations. You just heard us perform Can't Feel My Face by The Weeknd, and we had a ball doing it. We hope you enjoyed it too. My first guest of my very first episode is the man behind the ukulele. He's a smooth cat. He's the cool guy. We love him around here, and he plays guitar in my band. Welcome, Chris Schreck. Hey, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for being here. It's so exciting. Oh, my gosh. And we've had coffee already, so it's going to be a good show.
I think the man behind the ukulele is a nickname that's just going to stick.
I love it. You played beautifully, and it was so much fun. And you're just that cool kind of guy. Your wife said so. I talked to her. She gave you the thumbs up endorsement. So, honey, it's just what it's what you do.
She's stuck with me, so that's what she has to say at this point.
Oh, I don't believe it. But anyway, thank you for being here. It's just such an honor to have you on as my guest. And I think we should let the world know about you because, again, you're that cool kind of guy. So you're Chris Schreck, the Chris Schreck.
Yeah,
so, although I did Google you, and there are probably like 10 Chris Schrecks.
They're out there.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Until I met you, I didn't know a Chris Schreck. And now I feel like, wow, it's a cool name that maybe you and 9 other people have.
Yeah.
So how good is that?
I know there's one guy who does he's a university researcher or something like that. And occasionally
I saw him. Mm-hmm.
I have like a Google alert set up, and occasionally whenever he publishes some research, it says, Chris Schreck did something. And
oh, that's awesome. Do you go and congratulate him?
I should. I should reach out.
You should. From Chris Schreck to
appreciate
Chris Schreck.
What you're doing for our name.
Yes, and our reputation, and just thank you for that.
And I'm sorry for not carrying my own weight. That sort of thing. First
of all, there's one, and I don't mean to just jump ahead like this, but there's one Chris Schreck that has done time. It was not you, but there was one, and I was like, wow, that's really, Yeah. So he's bringing down the legacy. You're steadily moving ahead, and then the professor guy's really doing his thing. So
yeah, look, Chris Schrecks are who we are, and we've got great things, and we've had our struggles too.
Yeah, well, and it's good that you can own the struggles. That's beautiful because people need to know about that.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? I think you mentioned to me that you're not originally from Austin.
No, it's true. So my dad is a pilot, and so we moved around some when I was a kid. But I was born in New Jersey, which is a fact that my Texan wife won't ever let me forget. And my parents always said, you were born in the same hospital as Bruce Springsteen, which is super cool.
That's awesome.
I don't know. I think maybe they just say that to every kid who's born in New Jersey. Could be it. We also lived in Colorado and Arizona when I was a kid, and then I went to high school in the Houston area. So
cool.
I moved up here for school, and then just sort of loved it and stuck around.
Awesome. Now, you living in Austin and being here the last few years, does it have anything at all to do with the music?
Yeah, I think so. When I was 18 and thinking about colleges, this was the only school that I applied to. Because
wow. That was brave, don't you think? What would have happened? Would you have gone to work for McDonald's for a year if you had?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe 18-year-olds are really bad at backup plans. But it was I wanted to go to Austin first, and this was the school that was here.
Sure.
And I sort of had grand visions of being, this amazing musician, and then you get here and you realize that, everybody here is, even everybody you meet is great and plays somewhere. So, the reputation of Austin was a big sort of draw to bring me there.
Oh, it's so cool. That's so cool. Now, I think, what is your wife's name?
Megan.
Okay, then didn't you meet her while you were here?
I met her here. Yeah, we met in college.
Tell us about that.
So we met through a friend of a friend. He was a guy named Charlie who more or less just started kind of showing up in my dorm room. And
you're kidding.
Yeah, he just and then we ended up thinking, oh, this guy's great. My roommate and I, and then he made friends with Megan, and they came over together one time, and we sort of stayed friends, and then Megan and I were friends for 2 years while I tried to convince her to go on a date with me, and it took the full 2 years, and then the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. So now let me ask you, is Charlie still hanging around? Does he come and just stay with you and Megan?
I wish. I wish he was like a sitcom character that just sort of showed up. No, he ended up, he's like almost done with med school.
Oh, you're kidding. Shut the front door. That's awesome.
He was like the guy who had, 10 or 12 different majors through the course of college.
No, are you serious?
He's done all kinds of stuff, and now finally is like going to become super successful and great doctor and all that stuff. But he lives up in Dallas.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad. I thought for a moment, because you kind of paused, I was like, I hope he's not dead. Really bad. Like, oh, poor Charlie. Like,
great question, Candace.
And then the rest of the interview just kind of tanks.
Coffee time is a bummer.
I'm done. I'm out of here. But that is so cool. That's really interesting. But I know you have, like myself, you have a day job. So can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I'm, more or less kind of a mid-level bureaucrat.
Oh gosh, I almost lost my coffee.
I do like economic development and planning technical assistance for a lot of the small towns and more rural communities kind of around Austin. The allure of that to me is that like there's all this crazy growth happening in Austin.
Yeah.
And I'd love to sort of be helpful to those communities so that they benefit from that too, or in a lot of cases, those communities are about to grow really, really fast too.
Wow.
And it's kind of helping them to prepare for that, to make sure that they're not overwhelmed by it and they can do it in the way that allowing them to grow too. So.
Oh, that's really nice. Now, how did that happen for you as far as that opportunity?
Yeah, so we lived in Austin for a long time after college, and then we actually ended up moving up to DC for grad school. So I had a hunch that I kind of wanted to do some of these things. We lived in DC for 4 years, kind of doing government-related things, which is kind of cool. I mean, you get used to like motorcades going by and visitors who are heads of state and things like that, which is sort of fun. But also, like everybody there works 70 hours a week and unwinds by like drinking a bottle of wine. So it's probably not like a healthy place to live for a super long time. So we were looking for chances to come back and kind of found this job here.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. So now for you, like an average week, do you actually like work 40, 50 hours a week or?
Yeah, I work pretty standard, like 40 to 50 hours a week, usually 40.
Okay. So that gives you time to play music.
Yeah, it is nice to have sort of other things going in your life than just work. So.
Yeah, for sure.
What about you?
What about me?
What is your like workload? How do you find time to sing and write music and arrange coffee dates with people?
I just don't sleep. Like I tell people I can sleep when I'm dead, but that's kind of my thing. So anyway, so I love music a lot, just like Chris. And yeah, I need a job during the day to pay the bills, and I enjoy what I do as a physician, but I love music. Music is my passion, and that's one of the reasons that I started this show. That's why he's my first guest, because he's a cool guy like that. But it's really who I am. And so it's great to be able to combine, coffee dates with friends and with live music, doing a performance and having a great conversation. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So, but what about you when you have free time? I know you spend time with your wife, obviously, but if you have 30 minutes, if somebody says every day you get 30 minutes of just you time, what would that you time be?
That's a great question. We are like new homeowners, and so
congratulations!
Hey, thanks. We've been trying to grow some like a little bit of a garden.
Oh, that's awesome!
And, the thing you're supposed to do is like do a little bit of gardening every day. So that would be a good thing. I think we're trying to grow like some zucchinis and squashes and peppers and things like that. So probably not enough to feed ourselves, but it might be kind of fun. That's one thing. I do a fair amount of just sitting on the couch and noodling on the guitar, which is kind of a good way to unwind. And then my like real guilty pleasure is actually just playing the Xbox for like 30 minutes. So,
really?
Yeah. I recognize that there's like no value to that activity whatsoever. You contribute nothing to the world, and then you turn it off and it's gone and it's over. But it's a good stress reliever. So.
Well, considering that you help, communities develop and grow and not be overwhelmed by their growth, I think 30 minutes on the Xbox is not a bad, you earned it. So anyway, having said all that, tell us what your favorite word is. I've used awesome about 82 times during this interview. That is my favorite word because there's so much of life is awesome. Nothing's perfect, but I think so many days I find that there's so many awesome things, like great people I know, a great cup of coffee, sunshine, because we get a lot of that in Austin. So what is your favorite word, and tell us why?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. It's kind of I don't know, this might be sort of lame, but I really think maybe my favorite word is done.
Really? Interesting.
Oh, you were working on this and now it's done.
Yeah.
Okay, well, great. Well, we did something, we accomplished. It's the opposite of my Xbox feeling.
Yeah.
But this is done now, and presumably you did a good job with it, and you can take a rest. And so,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's done.
83 times. But yeah, that is, I like that. That's a great, I get that. That totally makes sense to me. That's very cool. Well, nice. I'm going to take another sip of coffee.
Yeah, in fact, I'm almost done.
Well, me too. This is really good coffee, and I will serve this again in future episodes. Now that unless the budget drops, then I won't be able to. But that's okay. It's all good. And then your beautiful, lovely wife, Megan.
Mm-hmm.
I contacted her. Hey, do you have any, things, to mention about your fantastic, amazing, cool as the other side of the pillow husband, Chris? To which she replied, yes. Ask him about fundables. He can talk all day about fundables. I looked up fundables because, I'm a doctor. I didn't know what it was. So why don't you tell us what fundables is, what it means?
So, maybe, did she mean fungible?
Okay.
Maybe.
No, she told him fungible, and I just told him mispronounced.
No, that's fine. So that was
wow.
When I was in...
That's embarrassing.
You shouldn't. There's no real reason to know this word. It was when we were in DC, and I spent so much time in school and things like that. And we would sort of hang out with all my school buddies and all that, and Meg would sort of sit there and be like, "Why don't we have normal friends instead of all of these people?" And so she was like, "Well, why don't you just give me one sort of takeaway from all of your time spent at school and all this sort of stuff." And it was sort of the thing I told her was well, money is fungible, meaning that you can use it for all sorts of different purposes, and if you take it away from one thing, you can use it on something else. And so whenever I start to sort of nerd out about work or things like that, she'll just go oh well, money's fungible. And that's my cue to stop being a weirdo and have a normal conversation.
And then she told me this interesting story. I didn't get the full story, so I thought I'd let you share it.
Okay.
Something about, I think you guys went to the grocery store and there was a pop-up adoption.
Yeah.
That went a little awry. Why don't you share?
All right, so I'm a pretty big animal lover. We have a dog that is that we spoil rotten and all this sort of stuff, and we got him at an adoption event at a pet store where they've got just a bunch of dogs out front, and you sort of pet them and you meet them all or whatever, and so we went to the grocery store here and they were having this adoption event there, and I was like, well, look, before we go in, let's just go over and pet the dogs or whatever, and Meg says okay, and we go over there, and so I'm going around and pet the dog, and I'm sort of talking to Meg about, I like this about this one, or I don't know about this dog. And we get to the end of the line, and it's not an adoption event, it's a pop-up vet clinic to immunize. So I've just been walking around talking about all these people's dogs in front of them and being a total creep. And so...
Sorry.
No, it's
your dog. This is an ugly dog.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I wouldn't adopt this one.
And nobody said a word.
Nobody said anything to me, and then once we realized, we both couldn't stop laughing for a super long time.
That is priceless. Oh my gosh! Wow.
So it's a word of advice to other people is just to sort of make sure it's an adoption event before. Yeah.
That makes complete and total sense to me. Oh my gosh. Wow. Anyway, awkward. So, anything else you would like us to know about Chris Schreck?
No, I would like you to know as little about me as possible.
Fungible.
Yeah.
Fungible.
But it has been really delightful getting interviewed and having
It's been
coffee.
delightful.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Thank you. As my first guest on my first episode ever.
I can recommend this experience to other musicians.
So, Chris, Schreck, thank you so much for being a part of my first episode of Coffee Break with Candace.
Glad to be here.
Oh, thank you. And we'll have to see you again for sure. And tune in for future episodes of Coffee Break with Candace. And we'll leave you with the cool, soothing sounds of Chris Schreck on guitar. Thank you, guys. Love you. See you next week.